Ene ejisem ni say tap send see yen fa sadere we emma won customers ni titu ene won a wo UK say obetimi a create wo tap send wallet no e wo app no eso se ekoba ne se tap rate no ekostra obetimi a save ska akodu impempenso bi ti say 50,000 Ghana cedis ane 50,000 Ghana cedis na afei wo yin kakra se oba on Ghana mu a obetimi a save ska ewo tap send wallet na so abra unya ohaw bia na tie tap send atre wo mahye akodru UAE Netherlands and Austria tap send na easy fast and secure tap send papa no
everybody check now check it check it. That beat is real. Don't wait, make it kill ya. Get your green select glucometer and check it. Sugar level, check it. Check it. Green select glucometer, check it. Push sugar level, check it. Check it. Reselect glucometer. Everybody check now.
This advert has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Well, in this particular story that I am about to handle, I'm not too sure of my position. Beyond me being the presenter of the story, beyond me reading to understand exactly what the story means, I'm not too sure whether I'm for it or I'm against it, and I'll tell you why. I'm not too sure my position because sometimes I see myself at both ends. Sometimes I see myself as being with the artist. Sometimes I see myself as being with the promoters. So when I saw the story, I thought about so many things. Knowing the reality on the ground, knowing what the creatives are going through, knowing what the promoters are going through, I'm sure that is what explains my confusion. Thanks to a gentleman on Twitter from Nigeria called Basito, he has given us something to think about. And I remember they will say a boon to all. Something for us to all sit, dive into our thinking capacities, and come out with something meaningful for the future. So that both ends will be comfortable, so that both ends will be profitable, so that both ends will also enjoy life, enjoyable. I wanted to rhyme with the balls. You should know this. Now, Basito is telling us of an experience of a French promoter who had to go through heaven and hell to get some Nigerian artists to come perform in Abidjan some few weeks ago. This French promoter has shared his ordeal live on TV, and he was telling the world what he had suffered in the name of making a show happen for these two musicians. And here I'm talking about Asake and Ayra. In today's music business, there is no way you can ignore the presence, the impact, and the value of these two. Fact. In today's music business, there is no way you can undervalue these two guys that I've mentioned. In fact, they have done a lot for themselves, getting to the highest level of music, the Grammys. It means they've done a lot for themselves. Therefore, at every point in time, if you want to deal with them, you need to place a high value on them. But the question is, a high value on them to what extent? That is where the problem comes in. So this French promoter is telling us that he has been doing a show called the Laguna Show. Well, that happens in Abidjan, and he is the organizer. And according to information that he shared, he spoke in French though, on TV, that has been translated by Basito. I would want us to pay attention to the details. Then we see how best we can balance some of these conversations should they come up. First, he says, and this is a quotation from the promoter. So this is the promoter talking. It says, Asake was paid 175,000 euros. That is 50% advance to perform in Abidjan with a private jet. Few days to Grammy night, Asake requested that the private jet should come pick him up in Los Angeles, take him to Lagos, to Abidjan, then take him back to Lagos, and from there to his next destination. And he says, I had to cancel because I couldn't take it anymore. It is true. I see two things here. I see a promoter suffering because, to him, the demand from an artist is becoming unbearable for him. That is point one. I see a promoter suffering because the demand from an artist is becoming heartbreaking to him. And that is factual as well. Because if you're a promoter and you've done your planning with an artist, you got to this level, and the artist comes with some of these demands, it will be heartbreaking. So that is what I see. The promoter obviously won't be happy because that sudden turn of events will put more pressure on him. Now, let's come to the side of the artist. Sometimes artists would want to break their necks to make some things happen, knowing that whatever they are being pushed to do is so hard for them to contain. So maybe Asake was in Los Angeles for the Grammys, and he was also needed at the same time to come perform in Abidjan. He thought about something. This is something I would want to do. But in doing it, it comes with so much stress. In doing it, it comes with so much pressure, so much wahala. Therefore, help me to help you. I'm sure that's how he saw it as an artist and his team. They saw it as such. Help me to help you. I would want to do it. I really want to. But because of the stress and the pressure in it, help me to help you. Obviously, the artist would also want to be comfortable in whatever they want to do. And that is the story. Promoter wants to be comfortable. Artist wants to be comfortable. Now, who would suffer all this? At every point in time, I know some artists who have done so many things just to make sure some things work. I have a story. Some time ago, we were supposed to go play a show in Koforidua for one of the universities there. In our planning, everything was done. We had another show in Akropon, and to our plans, when we are done with Akropon, we not even come Accra. We not even come to Accra. From Akropon straight to Koforidua to go and play the show. On the day, when we came back from Akropon at dawn, slept a little bit, and everybody put himself together, including the boss of the Empire, Shatawale, as well. And he started asking, Sammy, are the cars ready for us to go to Koforidua? The artist at that time played a show. The next day he has to come to another place to play a show. He was willing. Where are the cars to take us there? The promoters thought or felt that, hey, at that time that we were demanding cars to pick us was going to be a burden for them. Meanwhile, they knew that if we would have to come to Koforidua to perform, after all, we will move with cars. And because you are the promoter, you are taking care of it. The promoters did not pay attention to our request. Oh, cars 9, cars 10, cars 11, cars 12, 1, 2, 3 p.m. If the cars are not coming, then let's go back to Accra. Unfortunately, it was only when we got to Accra that these promoters, now they were ready to give us cars. Like, think about it. They were now ready to give us cars when we were in Accra. When we were at Akropon, that we had just about some minutes to get to Koforidua, they did not see it serious. I believe most of you heard that Shatta was supposed to perform at KTU and it did not happen. This is the backstory. Unfortunately, some of these things, because it is against the promoters, they won't come out to talk about it. They will keep quiet. They will keep mute. But if it had looked a different way, where the artist was the one looking bad, hey, media tour. They will be doing media tour, A to Z, A to Z, A to Z, for everybody to know that, yes, indeed, the artist messed up. But when they goof, oh, it was not intentional. Oh, we are sorry. But when the artist goofs, no, it's not like that. That is why I'm telling you that I'm struggling to find a position in this particular story. Because I see the artist who would want to make things happen in his comfort. Of course, who doesn't want comfort? Everybody wants it. And I see a promoter who also wants to make things happen in his comfort. So who is going to sacrifice his comfort or her comfort to make the thing happen? Now, the promoter goes on to talk about the same experience with Ayra Starr, who is comparably lesser than Asake, obviously. Take it or leave it. Comparatively, yes, Ayra Starr will be lesser than Asake. So, the gentleman, after failing to secure Asake, decided that, well, if Asake has failed, let me see if I can use Ayra Starr, because after all, the ways are clear. How to get the artist there, it is clear. There's a private jet waiting in Lagos, Nigeria. They should just come back from the America and poof, we are going to Abidjan to perform. Now the gentleman says when he tried Ayra Starr to, this is what happened. Ayra Starr also was paid 75,000 euros. That is 50% advance to perform in Abidjan. She was supposed to take a commercial flight to Abidjan. Few days to Grammy night, she requested if she can get a private jet. And I said, no problem, since we already paid for a private jet for Asake and he is cancelled. So the private jet is available to pick her up in Lagos. Ayra Starr said the private jet should come pick her up in Los Angeles. And I said, no, I can't do this. Then I cancelled her too. And this is the promoter talking. So once again, I'm sure maybe in Ayra Starr's comfort, she also had wanted to come and play. Obviously, if you are flying commercial planes at such particular places, I am not too sure if there is a direct flight from Nigeria to LA. I doubt. They might have to connect 1 or 2 stops before they will get to Lagos, Nigeria. I'm sure that's what they wanted to avoid. I'm sure to them, that was their worry, that was their burden, that was their stress, that, I would want to come and do this show. But I'm now at Los Angeles. Maybe I'd have to come to New York, I'd have to come to Washington, I'd have to come to somewhere, wait for some hours or minutes before I can connect to sometimes another place before you go to US. Because I know, for instance, in Ghana, there are a few people who fly straight to US. Many that they are going to Amsterdam, Canada, and London before they will connect to the US. And as an artist of their sort, sometimes it is hard to do these things. I know how it feels. Yes, I've been there before. Like top artists, and yes, forget about the business class seats and the first class seats. No, they will still have to go through that stress because they will still be here and there. So if the artist wants to do it, definitely he or she is likely to make some demands. Of course, the promoter won't be comfortable with such demands, especially when they come out to be last-minute demands. Now, listen, if you are dealing with any artist, in fact, make room for any excesses. Because to them, their life is not static. Their life is not stable. Their life revolves. So at every point in time, whatever is happening, that is how they live. So if you are dealing with any artist in the name of promotion, please always just make some room for excesses so that should they happen, you know how to safeguard yourself. So that should they happen, you know how to protect it. So I listened to the Frenchman's story and I felt sad for him. I felt sorry that his plans to do the show, maybe because even before you start doing some of these moves, you start the investment as early as possible. So maybe some investment had gone down already. And now, because of the private jet issues, they are not able to make it. If what the gentleman wrote on Twitter was the only thing that transpired within the conversation because they spoke French, then it means that the promoter even respects their decision. Then it means that the promoter understands whatever they were talking about. But of course, he couldn't deliver. So it comes out as such. And I see a whole lot of these happenings around me because, of course, I work with Ghana's Shatawale, who understands that there are some times that he can. I know Shatta has been doing so many sacrifices for some shows. Sometimes when you hear some of them, you'll be surprised that, really? Sometimes he does it, and to me, I get surprised, like, hey, really? Shatta went this down for this thing to happen? Shatta decided to put everything, pride and ego aside to make this happen? Wow, this is serious. Yes, sometimes he does it. But there are some times that he would also want it to be done his way. At least meet him halfway so we all look for a way to complete this. If you are not careful, you'll consider it as such. This reminds me about our London story, Wolverhampton show. The same thing I'm talking about. Shatta was willing. Charlie, that was our last card. I keep saying it was my last card I wanted to do. Program has been advertised. Shatta himself giving endorsement videos and all. Before show time or show day comes, Shatta started feeling unwell. Of course, very seriously. And when show was getting closer, the gentleman still wanted to honor it. He said, well, because I would want to honor it, let's find a way to make my going there stress-free. Let's find a way to make my going there comfortable so I'll still be in good health to deliver. Let's get a chopper, some intercity, 35 minutes, 40 minutes, which will not be expensive than flying a jet from Africa to America, 2 continents. Yet, once again, the promoter saw it as another demand that is going to be an excess, and therefore, they were not ready to do it. At the end, it only killed a beautiful thing that was being planned. At the end, it only killed something that everybody was waiting for to happen. So to me, it is hard for me to take a stance on this. But it is my prayer that we all get to a stage that we understand each other. Maybe that is my position. My position is that we find a way that we understand each other. The artist will understand the promoter, and the promoter also understand the artist. If you're able to get that, then it means now I have a position. If you're able to say that, okay, henceforth, when the artist says this, it is this he means. So we can manage this, manage that, and make it work. When the promoter says this, it is this he means. So we can manage this, manage that, and make it work. In fact, it is one of the things that I always plan to do. Be in the middle of the promoter and the artist so that there will be corrections and there will be things done right all the time that the artist might not even know. Yes, I've done that several times. Put myself in the middle just to make sure there is smooth delivery. Until we understand ourselves like that, it will be hard for us to achieve together. Until we understand ourselves like that, there will be conflict all the time. And if this conflict continues, it is not good for all of us. If the conflict between promoters and artists continues, it is not good for the promoter, it is not good for the artist, because we feed off each other. The promoter feeds off the artist also feeds off the promoter. So if we don't do it right, how do we survive it? This is a good story, and I want everybody to take a cue from it. That sometimes the artist might come across as being overly demanding. But for all you know, it is just to make sure they make a case for something to happen. Yes, sometimes. To make a case for something to happen. And the artists also feel the promoters are also not caring about them. Yes, it is not because they don't care. Sometimes it's about their accounts and their pockets. I'm sure if this man here in the video that we saw had his own private jet that he can send around the world, he could have just said, hey, shall I go to LA, go and pick Ayra Star and Asake for me. Maybe he didn't have it. He would have to pay. And to pay this, to pay that, it was also going to be a heavy burden on him. That is why I am ending that. we have to come to understand each other. We have to know each other's struggle so that at every point in time, we will all survive, we will all eat, we will all meet ourselves halfway in the execution. And this, everybody will be fine. Let's end it here. My name is Sammy Flex. Thanks to Digital Rasta Currency with Flex, to Tap Send. And remember to also subscribe to us, share your opinion, comments, reviews with us. It is allowed. I'll see you when I see you. We're out of here. Bye-bye.